Wherever you are watching us, this is CBA. But first, the headlines. The Secretary General of UID Party resigned. Somalia welcomes Qatar and Saudi Arabia reconciliation. UK nominates a new ambassador to Somalia. Ethiopia urges Sudan to withdraw army from occupied territories. Central African Republic, Touadera re-elected as a president. Let's start with Somaliland. On Tuesday morning, the Secretary General of UID Party has resigned, declaring his resignation of the office after chairman of the party, Faisal Ali Warapi, opposing his candidates for the upcoming House of Representative election. Engineer Hamse Daabjeerin, the Secretary General of UID Party in Somaliland, has announced his resignation and membership of UID Party. In his remarks, the Secretary General has justified his resignation following the chairman of the party, Faisal Ali Warapi, opposing his candidacy for the forthcoming House of Representatives election, and stated that the chairman is favoring another aspiring candidate who is from the same constituency of the Secretary General and more wealthy than him. The Secretary alleged his rival and the chairman of spending a lot of money to buy people's votes.
I'm
the Secretary General of UID Party, and I have been serving this office for a long time. It was in 2017 when the chairman of the party appointed me to serve this office. I also served as the campaign manager of the party, and now I have decided to resign from the office and membership of the party.
Engineer Hamse Daabjeerin said he informed the chairman of the party about his resignation and accepted from him. He also added that since he lost his party support, there is no reason for him to continue serving the party. The federal government of Somalia has joined countries that welcomed the Qatar and Saudi Arabia reconciliation after the two countries agreed to open their airspace and maritime borders. The move is a breakthrough in efforts to end a diplomatic crisis that has seen Qatar facing a blockade by Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Egypt since June 2017. Somalia has welcomed the deal between Qatar and Saudi Arabia governments to resolve the political dispute. In a statement, Somalia lauded the move to normalize the relationship between the two countries. The statement reads that Somalia is backing the fruitful reconciliation efforts between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the government of Qatar. The statement reads in part, on Monday, Qatari Foreign Ministry said Saudi Arabia reopened its airspace and maritime border to Qatar. He also said that the final agreement was the fruitful of a call brokered by Kuwaiti Emir with the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The move is breakthrough in efforts to end a diplomatic crisis that has seen Qatar facing a blockade by Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Egypt since June 2017, accusing Qatar of supporting terrorism and meddling in their internal affairs. Saudi Arabia and its allies severed their ties with Doha and imposed a land, sea, and air blockade on the country. Qatar constantly denied the charges and voiced readiness for dialogue to end the impasse. The former Somalia President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has held talks with the Puntland state leader Saeed Abdullahi Dani amid political tension between the federal government of Somalia and its member states over the upcoming elections in the country. Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, the former president of Somalia and the current chairman of the UPT political party, has met with the Puntland state leader Saeed Abdullahi Dani. The two leaders discussed in depth the possibility to find a lasting solution to the electoral crisis in the country. The officials agreed on the importance of holding key conferences to address the current challenges in the country, but never revealed when and where it will happen. On several occasions, the former president of Somalia, Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, emphasized on the importance of reaching a lasting solution for the upcoming parliamentary and presidential elections. On the other side, the president of Puntland State has emphasized that his administration will support any efforts resolving the political disagreements between the federal government and the federal member states before the election deadline, in order to have an inclusive political system that makes sure everybody is pleased with the next election outcome. The former president of Somalia, Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, who is currently on visit to Puntland, said he is working every possible avenue to remove obstacles against the elections before they happen. They are calling changes to be made to the members of the National Electoral Commissioners and doubting the integrity, honesty and neutrality of the committee. The opposition parties have expressed their lack of confidence in the Electoral Commission, accusing of bias and impartiality soon after was formed in consultation with all concerning parties and international partners. The sitting government's term and mandate given by the indirect voters is going to expire soon, while the complaints raised by the opposition figures weren't addressed according to the political opponents in Somalia. The UK government said that Ms. Cathy Foster has been appointed Her Majesty's Ambassador to the Federal Republic of Somalia in succession to Mr. Ben Fender, who will be transferring to another diplomatic service appointment.
Ms. Foster will take up her appointment during February 2021. According to his biography, Ben Fender was appointed Her Majesty's Ambassador to the Federal Republic of Somalia in February 2019. Prior to this, he was the head of Security Police Department at the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office from 2016 to 2019. Ms. Fender has extensive experience representing the United Kingdom in the Middle East, with previous posting as the charge and deputy head of mission in Tehran and elsewhere. He had good working relationship with the Somalia since his appointment. He will be remembered his opposition against what's known as Intercourse Bill. Some circles of the Somali society accused the MPs of total neglect of children's rights after MPs passed the bill into law. Ms. Kate Foster has worked as a Cabinet Office Deputy Director, International Affairs, National Security Secretariat, the UK Defence Academy Higher Command and Staff Course, Department for International Development, Head Africa Strategy, and Department for International Development, Head Africa Conflict and Humanitarian Unit, among other important roles in the United Kingdom government.
China's biggest depot operator has moved to consolidate its foothold in Djibouti after it agreed a financial deal with the East African nation to turn its port of Djibouti into an international business hub.
China Merchant Group signed the US $350 million investment deal with state-owned company Great Horn Investment Holding on December 29, paving the way for the revamp of the port, which is more than a century old. Located in Djibouti City, the United States $3 billion project is to be modeled on the southern Chinese port of Shekau in Shenzhen that is integrated with a free trade zone and business center. State-controlled China Merchants played a key role in Shekau's development. Abubakar Omar Hadi, chairman of the Djibouti Ports and Free Zones Authority, DPFZA, said the project will have a profound impact on the future course of the country and advance Vision 2035, the nation's development strategy.
The port community system is the first system in East Africa connecting the whole port community and the whole logistic system in the Djibouti corridors. Djibouti port community system will facilitate the transactions between the shipping community and transport and logistic community in Djibouti by offering a platform which is connecting them all together. So it's an online system, paperless system, which speed up the exchange of information and make it easier the business of.
Speaking at the signing ceremony held via video link, Hadi said it will turn Djibouti into a world-class business hub, creating thousands of jobs and wealth.
For the port corridor also, it's part of the new entity which has been now created, and for the port corridors, all the port corridors connecting to neighboring countries also will use the system of port community system. Even for the payment online of the road fee and any information related to the road, the traffic, the circulation, the traffic jam. If there is any special request, it will be reported through that port community system in place.
The first phase of the project, building an exhibition center and a 4-star hotel, began on October 8 and is expected to cost the US $513 million. Hadi said skyscrapers, working areas and shopping malls will also be built. China Merchant, which owns a 23.5% stake in the port of Djibouti, said it saw opportunities and economic benefits in developing, operating and managing the redevelopment project.
Ethiopia's Border Affairs Committee has urged Sudan to urgently pull its forces from forcibly occupied Ethiopian territories. In a statement, the Border Affairs Committee said the Sudanese army has currently occupied areas 20 to 40 kilometers deep inside Ethiopian territory since December 15, 2020.
According to the Sudanese news agency, Sudan on December 19th officially admitted deploying its army towards the Ethiopian border to, as it stated, reclaim its usurped lands from an Ethiopian militia in the Al-Fashqa area. According to the Turkish news agency Anadolu, the Sudanese army on Monday claimed retaking control of an area in the Al-Fashqa border region with Ethiopia. Sudan's border incursions came as Addis Ababa remains focused on its internal conflict in the troubled northern Tigray region. The border committee accused Khartoum of taking advantage of the internal conflict within Ethiopia to occupy sovereign Ethiopian territories. Earlier last month, Sudan accused Ethiopian defense forces and the Amhara regional militias of ambushing Sudanese troops along the border, leaving 4 dead and more than 20 wounded. The current invasion has been carried out by a mechanized army of the regular Sudanese defense forces. It warned that Sudan's unprovoked aggression is likely to go beyond the two countries and could destabilize the entire region. The EBAC condemned what it was said was the horrendous crimes of rampant killings, burnings and massive property destruction and the looting the Sudanese forces have committed against Ethiopian citizens in recent times. It said that the unprovoked aggression would be a major impediment to the peaceful neighbor relations between the two countries. It also urged Sudan to maintain the status quo of the farmers until the Joint Border Commission carried out demarcation in accordance with the 1972 and 2005 Joint Border Commission Memorandum of Understanding. The Ethiopian Border Affairs Committee is a non-governmental civic organization that has been closely monitoring the Ethiopian-Sudanese borders for the last 15 years.
The Ethiopian government on Monday said that humanitarian assistance is being provided as planned in the conflict-hit northern Tigray regional state. And here's the report.
The Ethiopian government on Monday said that humanitarian assistance is being provided as planned in the conflict-hit northern Tigray regional state. The remark was made by Demeke Mekonnen, Ethiopia's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, while briefing the diplomatic community and the Human Resilience Donor Group on the current humanitarian situation in Tigray. Weeks of fighting in Tigray between the Tigray People's Liberation Front, which used to rule the region until its defeat, and the Ethiopian Defense Forces have reportedly left hundreds of people dead, thousands displaced, and millions in urgent need of humanitarian assistance. More than 53,000 refugees have fled Tigray into eastern Sudan over the past 6 weeks, according to the UN Refugee Agency. Demeke told the diplomatic community that food items, commodities, and medical supplies are being provided in the region to address the needs of the beneficiaries. According to the Ethiopian Minister of Foreign Affairs, a common understanding was reached to continue the engagement with the donor group to work for further scaling up humanitarian activities in the region.
And now let's go to Uganda. The Chief Magistrate's Court in Masaka, Uganda, Monday granted bail to majority of National Unity Platform members and private guards of presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi, known as Bobi Wine, who were arrested in Kalangala district last week.
A total of 126 suspects appeared before both Masaka Chief Magistrate Charles Yatesi and Grade 1 Magistrate Grace Wakoli. Among the suspects is Bobi Wine's singing partner Ali Bukeni, also known as Nubian Lee, and Eddie Mutwe, Bobi Wine's private guard. Yatesi heard that Eddie Mutwe, Nubian Lee, and others on the 31st of December 2020 in a village in Buyoga sub-county incited violence and also did a negligent act that was likely to spread an infectious disease. However, the accused pleaded pleaded not guilty to the charges. The defense lawyers, led by Majoran Kazibwe, asked the court to grant the suspects bail since they have spent over 5 days in police custody and many had been tortured. The presiding magistrate then asked the accused persons to prove to court the allegations of torture and several displayed physical injuries on their bodies, some of whom were seen to be limping in court. The state prosecutor did not object to the bail application but asked the court to set stringent conditions before granting them bond. I have heard the submissions of the defense lawyers and I have examined the sureties of some of the accused persons and they are not substantial. However, it is in the observation of this court that some of the suspects were tortured while in cells and ought to be granted bail, said Mr. Yetesi. Mr. Yetesi granted majority of the suspects a cash bail of 100,000 Ugandan shillings and each of the sureties were bonded 5 million Ugandan shillings non-cash. The case was adjourned until the 19th of January 2021 when the suspects are expected in court for further hearing.
We are still in Uganda. The popular Ugandan opposition presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi, who is also known as Poppy Wine, has vowed to protest any illegalities and any irregularities relating to the forthcoming election in the country.
Your application budget you vote.
The popular Ugandan opposition presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi, who is also known as Bobby Wine, has vowed to protest any illegalities and any irregularities relating to the forthcoming election in the country.
This is going to be more or less a protest vote in my view, and protesting comes in voting and protesting comes also in demonstration for as long as it is within the acceptable legal confines. So it would be arming the regime, telling them that we are going to walk to work or we are going to sit in or we are going to do this or that. But all I can assure you is that we shall protest any injustice.
Bobby Wine alleged that the incumbent president Yoweri Museveni is already seemingly rigging the elections and further asked Ugandans to stand up against such practices.
Our pledge has always been to exalt the voices of the people of Uganda in the most legal, in the most constitutional, and in the most peaceful way, but again in the most assertive way. So if General Museveni rigs the election like he's already seemingly doing, we will ask the people of Uganda to raise their voices non-violently but assertively.
Wine has been repeatedly detained by Ugandan police for violating the COVID-19 regulations during his mega campaign rallies. His rallies, which often draw huge crowds, have been broken up with tear gas, riot police and live rounds, and Wine has taken to wearing a bulletproof vest and armored helmet on campaign trail. Known by supporters as the ghetto president, Wine is one of a new generation of politicians across Africa who are challenging long-time leaders, open to harness deep dissatisfaction among younger, more educated, and often urban voters. He broke into formal politics in 2017 when he won a seat in the Ugandan National Assembly and has since been badly assaulted and detained many times. Wine is contesting against President Yoweri Museveni, one of Africa's longest-serving leaders, having ascended to power in 1986 after the ouster of Idi Amin Dada. He was elected to a fifth term in February 2016 amid allegations of fraud. The Ugandan parliament passed a bill in July that removed the presidential age limits. Previous laws required presidential contenders to be younger than 75-year-old and would have prevented Museveni from running in the next general elections this year.
Parents and guardians have expressed their fears and worries over the safety of their children as schools across Kenya reopened this week after the 10-month break imposed by the coronavirus pandemic.
Parents and guardians have expressed their fears and worries over the safety of their children as schools across Kenya reopened this week after a 10-month break imposed by the coronavirus pandemic. Some of the parents said that they have a lot of fear because they don't know if other children in school have the virus or even if the teachers or support staff are carrying it.
We are very happy that our kids are back in school. We have got a lot of fears because we really don't know if other children in school are having the virus, or even if the teachers are having the virus, or even the support staff in school are having the virus. So we have that fear, but we really hope for the best, and we shall keep on praying for our kids to be safe.
To prevent the sporadic spread of the virus, hand washing, the wearing of face masks, and temperature checks have been made mandatory for those returning to school. The government went further by directing schools to convert open spaces into classrooms to avoid overcrowding. Also, teachers and support staff who are 58-year-old and beyond have been instructed to work from home. Kenya's Health Minister Mutahi Kagwe said all plans were in place to ensure the safety of teachers and students. He said that teachers will be considered alongside other frontline workers.
First and foremost, I want to confirm that the Ministry of Health has issued protocols on each of the issues that we are speaking to today, specifically addressing the safety of the children. And it's not just the safety of the children, it's the safety of the teachers as well. As you are aware, persons who are, the older you are, the more vulnerable you are to the virus. And therefore, the protocols that have been issued include the fact that it is not just the children who are supposed to be masked, but also the teachers, specifically the teachers, are supposed to be masked as well. So there is a raft of measures all the way from transport to the classroom, to working outside the classroom, to the behavior of the children, even as they are being transported. All these things have been addressed in our protocol that has been issued to the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Health, of Education.
To manage the high demand for travel following the reopening of schools, Kenya Railways Corporation launched a night passenger train service starting on Sunday. Over the weekend, President Uhuru Kenyatta extended an overnight curfew until March to help prevent the spread of the virus. He has also announced a 60-day ban on all gatherings, including political meetings. Kenya has reported almost 97,000 cases of COVID-19 and more than 1,600 deaths since the start of the outbreak in March last year. Kamil Sadiq, reporting for CBATV.
The president of the Central African Republic, Faustin Touadera, has been re-elected after securing nearly 54% of the votes.
The president of the Central African Republic, Faustin Archange Touadera, has been re-elected after securing nearly 54% of the votes. Matthias Maruba, the president of the National Election Authority (ANE), announced while speaking with newsmen in the capital, Bangui, that Touadera won an absolute majority vote. Maruba said about half of the country's electorate had registered, and turnout among the registered voters was 76.3%. Former Prime Minister Anicet George Poligili had finished a distant second with just 21% of the vote, while Martin Ziguli finished third with 7% of the votes. However, the results must be officially validated by the Constitutional Court if there are possible appeals. Meanwhile, the Democratic Opposition Coalition (COD) have said the election was riddled with massive irregularities and was in no way the expression of the people's will. The vote took place despite an offensive by a coalition of armed rebel groups, which left thousands unable to cast their ballots. The government had accused the former president, Francois Bozize, who was barred from standing in the poll, of staging an attempted coup. He denied the allegations but said he supported the rebels. Prosecutors have launched an investigation accusing Mr. Bouzizi of acts of destabilization and rebellion. Kamil Sadiq, CBATV.
And now let's see our sports news with Abdelaziz Guled.
Danny Ings' superb second-minute lob over Reds keeper Alisson from a James Ward-Prowse free kick settled the contest against his former club. Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool side, from whom this was the second league loss of the season, remain top of the table on goal difference but have taken only 2 points from their past 9 available. Both Manchester United and Manchester City will leapfrog the reigning champions if they win their games in hand. Southampton's first win in 5 Premier League games sees them climb a 6th and brought an emotional response from manager Raf, who sank to his knees to celebrate taking points against a side led by Klopp for the first time. Professional sport in England can continue behind closed doors despite a new national lockdown announced by Prime Minister Boris Johnson. It means Premier League football and elite leagues in other sports are allowed to carry on. The sports and leisure rules in England are similar to those announced in Scotland early on Monday. People living in England have been told to stay at home and schools will shut for most of people from Tuesday. On Monday, the United Kingdom recorded more than 50,000 new confirmed cases for the 7th day in a row. Uruguay's Players Union have called on Football Association to overturn Edison Cavani's 3-match ban. The Manchester United striker was fined for £100,000 and banned for an Instagram post containing a Spanish word that is offensive in some contexts. Luis Suarez and Diego Godin have both shared a statement by their National Players Union that calls the punishment a discriminatory act. Uruguay's Football Association also wants the ban reviewed. Godin, Uruguay's captain, and striker Suarez shared on Twitter a letter of support for their international teammate Cavani, written by the Uruguayan Football Players Association.
And that is our news bulletin for this time. Thank you very much for being with us. I am Hamse Daabjeerin.